Welcome back to Nerd Wars, and you guessed it, the 40K Space Marine 2 devs are based, and get it? Are we getting our hopes up? I don't want to be hurt again. Eve, why did you do it to us? If you're 40K pill, consider leaving a like and subscribing. From our friends at That Park Place, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 dev explains why so many AAA video games are failing.
Woke!
Is Sabre our savior? I mean... They certainly seem to understand what fans and gamers want, so...
It's beautiful, yeah.
So Sabre Interactive's Chief Creative Officer Tim Willets did an interview with The Hacks at IGN.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Willets first rejected the idea that gamers were moving on from certain genres. He informed the outlet, it is not necessarily the genre that has moved on, because great games will always do well. TLDR, you're a bunch of hacks, get good noobs. One of the things that we try to do at Sabre, and this is part of my job as creative officer of all the teams, if you don't really know what this is, it's what Dave Filoni is doing for Star Wars and his dog.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
We have a core belief that what you do every second, what happens when you push these buttons, and that core gameplay loop is so critical. They know how to give you that blood splatter, those sound effects to make it all feel so good, even when you just repeat it over and over again. So we focus on the moment-to-moment interaction in the gameplay and the feeling you have as you shout for the Emperor. And then we adhere to our core pillars, like be the ultimate Space Marine, melee, range, swarms, that's it. Get that right. Give us what we want to get us hooked. So the trick is you start there instead of, well, heteronormative patriarchy, so we're going to have to create Saga Anderson, she's black now, and we need 50% playtime between her and the man.
For a modern gaming audience.
No, you're like, how do you make this fight between these two as fun and as satisfying as possible? Not, I wonder what that monster's pronouns are. And a lot of teams throughout development will overscope games. I definitely understand mission creep, if anyone watched my documentary. To be fair, the like 8 to 10 hour campaign is definitely one of the complaints about Space Marine 2. But that's what they're saying is even if it's short and you give some extra modes on top of that, and it's a super satisfying gameplay loop, and it's fun, it's satisfying, you get those fun glory kills, people will still give you a bunch of money, even if it's just an 8-hour campaign.
Shut up and take my money!
They look at some other game that just came out and say, oh, we gotta do that, let's add this, we gotta do this, and they lose focus on the core, what actually makes the game fun. And that's how you get Star Wars Outlaws. This is all us Space Marines want. To look as pretty as possible.
And I say this with an unblemished record of staunch heterosexuality.
Absolutely.
It's fabulous.
There are gameplay mechanics that people are familiar with, but we do it really, really well, and we execute really, really well. Make sure the most important part is as well done as possible. Yes, not focusing on, what's our premium currency going to be called? Of course, you know, you're going to have to buy an extra $20 just to get any of the skins you want, because we're going to make them 100 more premium points than you can afford with one pack. No, how to make it fun, cool, satisfying, and give it a good, addictive gameplay loop. That's what we want. It's not just wokeness in games that's ruining gaming, especially AAA gaming. So many other things. Monetization, how much money they're spending on it, time they're spending on it. It's so risky, which we get into here shortly. You got Microsoft buying studios so they can close them down while using Game Pass to destroy the entire industry. And not only were they able to deliver a good, high-quality AAA game with some amazing cinematics, they kept the cost down. We don't need to sell 4 million units to make Space Marine 2 a success. There are many games, sadly, especially out of North American developers, where if you do not sell 5 million copies, you are a failure. I mean, what business are we in where you fail if you sell less than 5 million? Now imagine you're Concord and you got shut down after 2 weeks. After 8 years of work, my God. AAA is plenty screwed up even without all the wokeness. There are examples like that, and we do not want to be that business. We want to be a developer that focuses on the core experience, what makes the games actually fun, and then do it really well, and then make it affordably. This is all men want. Picket fence, kill some Tyranids, hot wife to take care of you when you come home from your single job, and glory for the Emperor when we're not busy thinking about Rome. Look at SnowRunner, dude. SnowRunner is literally driving trucks through the mud. That's it. I'm done. I just described the game. 15 million people played it because the experience is perfect. It's so simple. It's so simple. Look at World War Z. Like, come on, we're not going to get an Academy Award for that game, but 25 million people have played it because it's just this perfectness, and that's what we do well. They are actually pretty good, it appears, of taking IP and turning it into actual fun games, which is very difficult to do. Taking like a movie or a book and turning it into a game historically hasn't always worked out well. And if you haven't seen World War Z game, you should check out some of those zombie swarms. I never played it, but it looked awesome. People enjoyed it. 25 million people.
I'm so popular. Everybody loves me so much.
The co-founder and CEO said about AAA development back in April. In general, I would say that AAA development has become very risky, and that's where Sabre is different. Sabre, I believe, can create AAA, but not at a AAA budget. And Ubisoft is trying to create quadruple A games just to justify their quadruple A budgets, and then it absolutely just bombs. I can't even remember the name. Skull and Bones? I want to call it Black Flag every single time.
Let's try that again.
We like to talk about how AAA is dead and the future is going to be indie games and AA games. You're like, what are AA games? I think Sabre is going to be bringing us those great AA games. I think that as games become more expensive to make, the $70 title is going to go the way of the dodo bird. I do. I just don't think it's sustainable. $80 games. Will they at least give us $75 games first? Look, you remember the hype for Cyberpunk, which I think actually ultimately performed okay, but when the expectations are so high and so much money is put into one title, it's hugely risky for the company that's doing it. What if it fails? Honestly, I preferred Cyberpunk when it was buggy as shit. It actually worked on my computer then as well. So AAA gaming is not particularly sustainable. It was when you were actually making games instead of propaganda, before you were hiring the sweet babies and the hit detections. But one of the reasons they got them is because it's so risky. So they're like, we can't get canceled, so we got to make sure things are more authentic for the BIPOCs. Yes, you will be forced to play as a deaf black girl spray painting.
I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, we're playing Spider-Man here.
And this sort of stuff takes time to catch up with them, all these poor decisions. It's get woke, go broke, but for the really big companies, sometimes it takes a little while for that go broke to catch up to them. Just ask Ubisoft.
That's a lot of damage. How about a little more?
While Willets brings up a number of valid points, he did not touch on the woke factor whatsoever. However, he did touch on it in a comment under one of Asmongold's videos, which if you haven't checked out, go to Asmongold Clip Channel. Look at the comments under the videos. People are finally waking up. Hey man, CEO of Sabre here. I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which by its nature was old school. Already liking this so far? I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They are too complex and too much of an investment.
I forced myself to completion, and it was painful.
This is all we want. White picket fence, hot wife, killing Tyranids for the Emperor. We don't ask for much. I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time when games were simply about fun and immersion. Yes, like in the long, long ago before the woke mind virus scourge took over the world.
Make everything like it was in the before time. In the long, long ago.
Save us, Space Marines. How am I supposed to get immersed if I'm not playing as a deaf black lesbian spray painting? No, sorry. She was heteronormative, sorry.
What is the point of this, Canman? I have no clue.
I spent some time as CEO and Embracer. Oh, rough. And I saw games there that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. And I think we all know he's talking about Saints Row. We just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, this is what games should be about. Bigot confirmed. What's their newest game that's been announced? A new Avatar: The Last Airbender game is coming from the Space Marine 2 studio. All right. And they're working with Avatar Studios, like the Nickelodeon studio. Sounds sweet. I'm interested. Oh no, from the sound of it, we won't see Angkor or anyone else in the shows. There's no release date yet. Alrighty. A never before seen Avatar, according to the press release, set thousands of years in the past. I mean, it's Sabre Interactive, so it could, is it going to be good? So, let me know down in the comments. Do you think the avatar will be male or female? I think we all know. And if it is male, our Sabre saviors. So, oh my God, I watched one episode of the Netflix live action and it was
And a more offensive spectacle I cannot recall.
If you also didn't like the Netflix live-action Last Airbender, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more Last Airbender video game news. So Sabre Interactive, did we find another winner, or are we just gonna get hurt again? No, Eve, come back! Bring that booty back, girl! Thanks for watching, and please follow the algorithm on your way out and support the channel by becoming a YouTube member.